So occupational therapy in community forensic settings that that Project Kinship can fall under includes communicating with a multidisciplinary approach and with the rest of the team, where occupational therapists are always talking to social workers or psychologists, psychiatrists, etc. on coming up with a main goal for each individual. And every goal is client-centered focus. So we want everybody, we want to create individualized goals and occupation-based interventions for each individual, which then covers meaningful goals and a holistic view of limitations. So everybody goes through something different, through different experiences, and we consider that by creating individualized goals to remediate the limitations, and that we were able to rehabilitate or teach the necessary skills to move forward. So who is the population that we will address in community settings, such as those in the forensic settings? They are formerly incarcerated individuals that also include at-risk youth, and which many of them face recidivism, which is being incarcerated after being incarcerated the first time. They also face employment issues, so usually because they lack the skills necessary for employment, it's more difficult for them to be hired. Also, they face housing challenges and mental health factors that affect behaviors, as well as coping skills and social/community reintegration. So it makes them difficult to kind of blend in with the community once more after having a drastic change in life. So how can occupational therapy address recidivism? The first thing we should look at is the leisure and offender rehabilitation. There are studies that say there's a significant impact when offenders are involved in leisure activities, and it's important for them to receive guidance and instruction so that they know how to move forward and use the necessary skills to do so, as well as training professionals working with the offenders inside and outside of facilities, and provide programs once the formerly incarcerated individual is back into the community. So just as we saw in previous years, hospitals didn't think it was necessary for occupational therapists to be there because they didn't see the impact that they made, but throughout the years they've seen the impact, and they have noticed that they're preventing readmissions into the hospital. So that's the occupational therapist's goal in this setting as well, to prevent going back into prison and things like that. So how can we do this within the community? We address skills such as social skills, which we touched earlier, financial management to be financially successful, job performance to increase employment, leisure to maintain purpose in your life, social participation, coping skills, and time management in order to succeed within job performance, get back into routines and healthy habits, build relationships, and personal hygiene and grooming to be presentable wherever they find themselves.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about assessment tools within the forensic setting, and one of them that we saw that it's really important is the MOHOST, and this is the Model of Human Occupation Screening Tool. And as I talked earlier, this is just a little bit, just to get to know them a little bit better, to know their background a little bit more. And it is a really flexible and very easy assessment to do. It aims to give a broad overview of occupational participation, and it uses a mixed data collection method. It could be informal and formal, so you could just talk to the client, build a little bit of rapport, or could also use their medical charts just to get a little bit more information about them. So the MOHOST is made out of six concepts, and these concepts are motivation for occupation, pattern of occupation, communication and interaction skills, process skills, motor skills, and environment. And just like Elisa pointed out, we work on all of these different concepts within the person depending on if they need help with social skills, motor skills. So this is a really important assessment in order to find out exactly what they need help in and what kind of goals we need to implement with the clients. And this is how it's rated. This is an example of what you would see in an actual like template of the MOHOST. So right here is a rating scale. It goes from F, it's fair. So F is facilitates occupational participation. A is allows occupational participation. I inhibits occupational participation, and R restricts occupational participation. So how this is rated is, for example, let's say that they were assessing their social skills. So they would, the occupational therapist would decide which one of these the client is rated in. So the rating process generates a profile of strengths and weaknesses affecting the client's occupational participation. So you get a little bit more of an overview of what concepts, what areas they need a little bit more help in, so we could accomplish their goals. And then we have the AOT, occupational profile. I talked a little bit about it earlier, and I'm going to show an example of how an occupational therapist actually conducts this type of assessment. So this is a summary of a client's occupational history and experiences, patterns of daily living, interests, values, and needs. So it's what the client, like the client's meaningful activities are based on, what they like to do. So this information is obtained from the client's perspective. As an occupational therapist, you build rapport with the client, and you use a holistic approach as well as the client-centered approach as we talked about earlier. And this actually allows the client to collaborate more with you and to build rapport and to give you a little bit more information about them. And what you would see in one of the occupational profiles, this is an example of what you would see. So for example, you would see the personal interests and values, and you would write in what are the client's values and interests. And then, for example, the occupational history, you would write their life experiences, and also performance patterns, routines, roles, and habits, which we already talked about. So what type of habits they engage in, patterns, daily life roles, etc. So this is an example of an occupational profile. So let's take a look at it. Oh, sorry. Go back.
Sorry, just have to copy and paste it.
Hi, Fran. I'm Danielle. Hi, Danielle. I'm going to be your OT today. Do you know what OT is?
Sort of. I know I'm here to get my wheelchair.
To get fitted for a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So, and that's going to help you work around the house and move a lot better in the community. But what OT does is helps you do the things you love to do and be as independent as possible. So your wheelchair is going to be a huge part of that. But I'd like to get to know a little bit more about what it is that you want to do and maybe other ways that we can help you besides fitting you for the wheelchair. Does that sound like something you're interested in?
That sounds great.
Okay, so we're going to get a little bit of background. It's going to be some basic stuff and then a little bit more specific to you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Fran, how old are you?
I'm 27.
Okay, and are you married?
I am. I have a wonderful husband.
Great. And how many kids do you have, if any?
We have 2 children. One is 3 and one is 6.
Okay, and do they go to school at all? Are they at home during the day?
The 6-year-old is in 1st grade. The 3-year-old, I have someone that helps me with him, but he's at home and he goes to preschool.
Okay, great. And are you still working right now, or have you had a job?
I'm not for the past 2 months. This flare-up has really slowed me down in a lot of ways, so I haven't been working.
But did you enjoy your job before?
I loved it as a social worker. I really liked it. I want to get back to working.
Get back to doing that. Okay. And what other things do you enjoy doing? Seems like you like to be with people and work with people. What other things do you like to do?
Well, I really miss my friends. We used to go out a lot. I had a book club, and we used to meet at a coffee shop, and I haven't been able to do that anymore. I really like spending time with my family, and I did value my job as a social worker.
So as you can see, in this video, the occupational therapist was just trying to get a little bit more information about the client, what the prior functioning skills were, where she worked at, what she wants to work on in future goals. So that was occupational profile.
You didn't go back. There was outward. The requirements.
So the requirements for completing the assessment for the MOHOS, you need the rating form, which I was talking about, just to see the weaknesses and the strengths on the different concepts of the MOHOS. You also know how to use the rating scale, and you have to gather information from observation and interview. And for the AOTA application profile, you need the template, which I showed the different examples here. In addition to, we need to identify priorities and desired targeting outcomes. So we need to know where their weaknesses and where their strengths lie in order to make correct goals.